Yeah.
Peace and love, people.
Yeah, so a little while, just as long as it take me to cut this up.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm waiting for people to come.
Greedy family. Greetings. Greetings. We gonna pop get this all you can eat Bookfet All going real soon.
It should be all you can read.
All you can eat. Knowledge is food.
All you can read.
All you can eat Bookfet.
All you can read buffet.
Me and Suge are currently. Yeah, I'm a little bit late. You know how that shit go. Hold on. It's our current situation. This Suge got Suge on the ones and twos. Hey, don't touch the blade. We having spaghetti tonight. It's late, but it's all good though. This is our snack right here. Never mind that. Peace and power. Peace and power. All right, so we getting ready for the buffet. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna cut these up right quick. Put your head out the camera. All right. Make sure you clean up this countertop for me. All right, give me 1 second, family.
Well, you're going live.
Put this in the refrigerator for me. Put this in the refrigerator for me. Put this in the fridge, and then come back and put this in the trash. Get the grapes after you finish.
Okay.
Okay. Peace, family. I ain't bullshitting. We getting right to it. Hold on, though. Hold on. Yeah, I got to at least have my vegetation ready, so as soon as we done reading, I can get this together. Sure. I don't know. Oh, you know what? This green bowl, rinse it off, and put your zucchini inside that bowl, and then use this red plate as a top to cover it up. You can keep it covered till I come back in here, okay?
Okay.
Thank you much. Thank you much. Alright. Wash my hands and we ready to roll. Yeah, use that red top and just turn it upside down right there. You go. Perfect. Clean that counter up for me.
Can I get right?
Put this in a piece of foil. Don't use those sandwich bags for that. Use a piece of foil.
Put that right
And
there?
don't eat those apples either. I'm making a dessert something.
Okay.
They're soft and rotten anyway.
I wasn't planning on eating those apples. 'Cause apples taste. My grandma's done.
Alright, then we finish the counter. Carefully put this in the fridge.
You
So
know
it
what,
don't.
Grandma?
Listen,
Yes.
I understand. We'll talk about grandma in a minute, okay?
Okay.
Carefully put that in the refrigerator so nothing spill over. Peace, fam. How y'all doing? I love y'all. I'm glad we decided to do this on YouTube and not Facebook, so it would just be us. You feel like no extra heads and shit. Alright, hold on. Alright. Homemade selfie joint. Hold on. Alright. Let's get some books. Alright. Let's do this. Oh goodness, it's been a minute since we did the book fair. Alright, listen.
Bye.
So you know how this shit goes. Alright, this piece. Alright, we just pick a random title. For the most part, we pick a random page. We just start where we are for a few sentences, passages, or pages, whichever one feel most right. Yeah, that's it. You feel like it's something we should expound on, we do. If you don't, we move on to the next one. All right. I'm excited. Okay, hold on. It's hot and shit. All right, here we go. So we got some titles you're familiar with, like the ISIS Papers, The Coldest Winter Ever, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, Medical Apartheid, Nutricide. Peace and power. Where y'all want to start? Hey, I didn't even see the comments. Greetings. All right, so let's start with let's start with one of my favorites. A book on polygyny, co-partnering, a relationship, marriage, and family alternative. It's called We Want for Our Sisters What We Want for Ourselves. All right. Let me see. Hold on. Notes. Let me see. Notes. That's good. I don't want to read no notes to you. Hold on. All right, I'll just pick anywhere like we said we're going to do. Overview. This page 4. Patricia Dixon, PhD. Copyright. Let me give you copyright info. They might still pull the fucking video down, but copyright 2002, Patricia Dixon. Overview. In part 1, I examine monogamy as an exclusive marriage practice and show how it is another form of Western cultural domination. I show that while monogamy is imposed upon the world as a universal norm, polygyny has been practiced throughout most of the world. Even among Western peoples in early Mesopotamia and among the Greeks and Romans, polygyny was practiced. However, because it was done so in the form of concubinage and prostitution, it was dehumanizing for women. I also show how the European form of polygyny was carried over into early America with enslaved African American women and continues in contemporary times in various forms. In this part, I also provide an overview of studies on the practice of polygyny in Africa. Here I describe what African women perceive as the advantages and disadvantages of the African form of polygyny and how Western cultural chauvinism, Christianity, and industrialization continue to undermine the practice. Since questions have been raised about whether there is a population imbalance between African American males and females in part 2, using census and other data, I explore this. I also explore and critique perspectives from African American women on sharing men and emphasize the necessity of making a paradigmatic shift from individualism or self to an us orientation. Great rising. African American women are encouraged to build relationships on truth. Eddie Kane, if I ever make it to you and your wife's couch, I'm never leaving, just so you know. African American women are encouraged to build relationships on truth and around community. In addition, part 2 describes African American male perspectives on what motivates them to engage in multiple relationships. This is followed with an examination of Western masculinity and its impact on African American males. Part 3 provides the research findings from the women and men in 3 African American communities in which polygyny is openly practiced. Here I show how African American women adjusted to the practice of polygyny, their motivations for engaging in it, what they perceive the advantages and disadvantages to be, and their perspectives on the practice. I also describe why men are motivated to engage in such a practice, the challenges and difficulties, strategies they use to maintain balance and fairness, and their perspectives. In part 4, I make the shift to co-partnering, explaining how, when there is consent, it can be advantageous for all women. I also outline the moral, legal, cultural, and personal factors that need to be considered. Finally, African American women are urged to use a womanist ethic of care for sisters to move towards co-partnering. All right, that's enough of this one. But then this is in. If you got any questions on, because niggas love to ask on Facebook, how you feel about polygamy? How I feel about polygamy. Boom. This book pretty much covers it. This book pretty much covers it. I said, if sex is not the primary objective, then it's easy to understand how a village works, especially because so many of us are stretched thin. So many of us feels like it takes a relationship to run a household. You need two incomes. I can't even tell you the number of times that I've heard that. And so essentially that's what you're doing. You're strengthening, yeah, I mean, like I said, we're so self-driven and so sex-driven and so ego-driven that we think about all the things and none of the things are relevant. Nobody thinks first, oh, I could have an in-home tutor for my daughter. You know what I mean? Like, nobody thinks that. Oh, we're gonna save $1,000 on daycare without signing up for caps and shit and programs telling white people we poor than a motherfucker, we need their handouts and shit. Listen. I'm thinking that's amazing. And anyway, some sisters, even the duty, privilege, or burden of sex, it's an honor to share. I know some people like, with your regular ass sex. It always be some more regular sex ass lady telling me she don't want to share no man. Bitch, what you need to do is share some Kama Sutra goddamn websites and shit with that nigga. That's what you need to do. But anyway, that's your business, sis, and I love you anyway. I can't share my man. And don't worry about it. You ain't got to share shit. He got sharing. He know how to share just good without your help, so don't even worry yourself with that. But that's peace too. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody got choices. So moving on to the next book, we got let's just reach in. African People and European Holidays: A Mental Genocide. This book is book 1 in a series, and it is by Ishikamusa Barashango. All right, Ishikamusa Barashango. African People and European Holidays: A Mental Genocide. You see the pumpkin and the Easter bunny and shit busting out the head. True shit. Here we go. Let's just. Oh damn. How America Got Rich Overnight. Hold on. Black Messiah. Anatomy of the Bloody Mary. Hold on. Trying to find out where the fuck I want to pick up. My beloved black brothers, and I'm picking up on page 20. Let me give you the copyright info. This is African People and European Holidays: A Mental Genocide. October 2001. The first printing was November of 1979. I'm picking up on page 20. You are afraid. Wait, no, maybe I'm not. Every time I read one sentence back, it makes me want to go one sentence back and one sentence back and one sentence back. Hold on one second. Americans have never really ceased to be bandits and criminals, as evidenced through her aiding and abetting in the rape of Africa and the approval by constitutional law of the long continual enslavement of black people in this country, for which even after the so-called Emancipation Proclamation, we have never received just reparations. What could be more criminal than Euro-America having kidnapped us from our homeland, brought us to a new world, and forcibly made us build a nation for them, and after 4 centuries of amassing unto themselves a fortune off of the blood, sweat, tears, scarred backs, psychological and spiritual trauma of our ancestors, never once offered to make amends for this gross injustice by way of full reparations and restoration to the descendants of the African slaves. This is not just petty thievery, larceny, grand larceny, embezzlement, and extortion, but moreover armed robbery and murder on an astronomical scale. Now I ask you again, what is more criminal than that? You know what's really crazy as fuck? I think about it all the time. If they really did give us reparations, we get the shit right back. You know what I mean? I don't see why they wouldn't. If I was white people, if I was in power, that's exactly what I would do. I would give them the rope. Give them the rope. You know what I'm saying? We took the chains off. They still put them on by themselves. Shit, give them the money. They give it back. We see it all the time with tax time. Tell them motherfucker, give them the money on a Tuesday. Tell them we having a random a surprise Black Friday, and watch them give it all back. It's sad, but it's true. Anyway, um, still yet no full reparations and no restoration to the descendants of the slaves. This is not petty thievery, larceny, grand larceny, embezzlement, and extortion, but moreover armed robbery and murder on an astronomical scale. Now I ask you again, what is more criminal than that? Whenever we as a people get tired of begging for handouts and accepting crumbs from white America and demand from the U.S. government payment on what they owe us, a just demand fully supported by international law, she turns a deaf ear and says, let bygones be bygones. So I think about that every time someone talks about reparations. It would be smart to give reparations right now. It would. Sadly, yeah, the only one, it's sad, but the ones that would make good of the reparations are the ones that are making good without it. You know what I mean? The ones that are making good without it. But anyway, that's a whole nother shit. All right, she turns a deaf ear and says, let bygones be bygones. As we continue to press the issue, America begins to rally her deceptive and reactionary forces to spin a hypnotic web of illusionary images that create a climate of fantasia, which implies things are changing and that black people are doing better today than they have ever done in the history of the world. Remember, this book was written in 1979. Talking about little shit to make you think you did better. You remember a couple of years ago when they was talking about Harriet Tubman was going to be on the dub? Niggas was turned like, nigga, we made it. You didn't. Get a black president like, nigga, we all the way up. Not quite. Next up, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy LaGroix. All right. Strange fruit. Strange fruit. Let's cover strange fruit just because. Southern trees bear strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees, pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh, then the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here is fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for the trees to drop. Here is a strange and bitter crop. Strange Fruit, Billie Holiday, written by Billie Holiday and Lewis Allen. We picking up on, they say this post-traumatic slave syndrome. Let us, oh wait, what's this right here? All right, let's go deep. Slavery's children, fulfilling the stereotype. Building self-esteem, picking up at page 184. Sankofa. Return and get it. We must return and claim our past in order to move toward our future. It is in understanding who we were that will free us to embrace who we are now. The meaning of Sankofa. This book is copyright 2005 by Dr. Joy DeGroy Leary. All right. Building self-esteem on page 184. Beliefs are powerful. Remember our discussion in chapter 4? They strongly influence how we think, feel, and behave. And their influence can be negative or positive. If a person has negative beliefs about their value and skills, they will often self-sabotage their efforts or cease trying at all. If a person has a positive belief about their ability and worth, they are more likely to achieve the results they are after. When we believe ourselves to be unworthy or incapable, these beliefs have little basis in fact, yet they can still be powerful influences. What we need most in these instances is evidence to the contrary. If we can see that we are in fact valuable, that we are in fact able, we will change our beliefs about ourselves accordingly. So far, we've talked about vacant esteem and some of the ways in which it manifests itself in our lives daily. If we are to heal, one step we must take is to ensure we build our own self-esteem as well as the self-esteem of our children. For many, this will be no easy task. Our esteem has been buffeted by the storms of slavery, oppression, and marketing for so long. For some, building up their esteem may take years, and some families may even take generations for their esteem to stabilize. Rarely have those who have suggested it known how to achieve it. To the frustration of us all this being said, please know that it certainly can be done. Mostly it takes perseverance, and patience. Two of our great strengths, by the way. Actually, building self esteem can be a very straightforward exercise. Building self esteem can be expedited if we understand its components. If you remember, esteem means worth or value. Uh oh. Uh oh. Hold on. Let me get my. Hold on. Let me get my charger. Okay. Okay. Uh-oh. Hold on. Okay. You ready? You ready? Hold on. Wait a minute. I thought I was ready. I forgot. Let me plug me up. Let me plug me up. Don't short me out. Okay. Hold on. Oh shit. Okay. We ready? Okay, we ready? Snatch, where you at? I ain't fucking around. Alright. Self-esteem. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Alright, I ain't gonna keep fucking up, y'all. We gonna get this. We're gonna put a book right there. Put some books right here to keep the phone from falling. Building self-esteem. Here's the question that is at the core of our esteem. Wait. Building esteem can be expedited if we understand its components. If you remember, esteem means worth or value. Self-esteem has to do with our evaluations of our own personal worth or value. To have a good assessment of our worth requires two simple building blocks. First, we have to in fact be valuable, and second, we have to be aware of the value we produce. Hence, here's the question that is at the core of our esteem. Are you destroying or creating? This is the essence of esteem. Have you discovered your unique gift and shared it with others? Do things get worse or do they improve around you? Are others' lives poorer or richer because you are alive? Do you make the world a better place? When people leave your company, do they feel better than they did before they arrived? These are some of the signs of value. Did you provide for your children today? Did you do good work at your job today? Did you do the best you could do in school today? Did you make someone smile today? These are some of the most important questions to ask ourselves, yet so few of us do. These are key questions about the value that we produce. We all know people who often leave us feeling bothered, confused, fearful, or sad after we spend time with them. These people tend to express negative value. At the extreme negative end of the value scale, there's some people who seem to make us less able, weaker, less energetic. They are like vampires. You know, they suck the life out of us. Then there are others, those special people in our lives who generally leave us feeling happier, brighter, and healthier. These people express substantial positive value. At the end of the value scale, some of them help you become more able, stronger, and more alive. They are extremely valuable individuals. That's post-traumatic slave syndrome. All right, that's the third book. We rolling. Sister Soldier. Energy Vampires. True. This right here is just hold on. Yeah, it's just to promote literacy and shit. You feel me? That's all this is right here. I don't know. Damn, fuck around, been doing yoga so long, it's uncomfortable to sit Indian style. I gotta sit a whole nother Indian style. All right. Looking at notes I got in here. Moving on. Sister Soldier, The Coldest Winter Ever. Copyright 99. By Lisa Williamson, PKA Sister Soldier. The Coldest Winter Ever. Chapter 1. I never liked Sister Soldier, straight up. She the type of female I like to cut in the face with my razor. Before I get heated just talking about her, let me make it clear who I am and where I stand. Don't go jumping to any conclusions either. All of y'all are too quick to jump to her defense without knowing what somebody up close and personal thinks. When it comes right down to it, those are the ones who really count. The people who was there, who seen it all. Hell, you can't smell nobody's breath through a camera. You almost can't see their pimples. So you know that TV shit ain't real. Don't run ahead of me. Let me take my time and tell my story. Brooklyn born, I don't have no sob stories for you about rats and roaches and pissy pew hallways. I came busting out of my mama's big coochie on January 28, 1977 during one of New York's worst snowstorms. So my mother named me Winter. My father, Ricky Santiago, was so proud of his new baby girl that he had a limo waiting to pick my moms up from the hospital. The same night I got home, my pops gave me a diamond ring set in 24 karat gold. My mom said that my fingers were too small and soft to even hold the ring in place, but he insisted that he had a guy who would have it adjusted just right. It was important for me to know I deserved the best. No slum jewelry, cheap shoes, or knockoff designer stuff, only the real thing. We lived in the projects, but we were cool with that. We weren't wanting for a damn thing. I had 3 aunts, 4 uncles, and a whole slew of cousins. As far as we were concerned, it was live for all of us to be chilling in the same building, or at least the next building over. We never had to worry about getting into fights because around our way we had reputation. Plus, it was plain and simple common sense. If you put your hands on anybody in the family, you would get jumped by the next oldest person in our family, and so on and so on. Sooner than later, we didn't even have to say a word. Everybody understood that our family had the neighborhood locked down, and it wasn't worth the trouble. Our apartment in the projects was dipped. We had royal red carpets on the floors, top-of-the-line furniture, a fully loaded entertainment center, equipment, all that good stuff. I love my pops with a passion. He was the smoothest nigga in the world. When he came into a room, he made a difference. His cologne came around the corner introducing him before you could even see him. He spoke softly with deep seriousness. He was light-skinned, tall, with curly black hair and a fine, thin mustache to match. He was medium build, definitely in shape. The thing that stood out about him was his style. His clothes were crisp, expensive. He never wore the same shirt twice. He could do it like that because he was smart. He never used the drugs he sold. He collected his money on time and made examples of any fool who tried to cheat him. He had a saying, 1 copper penny, 1 finger. All the ladies loved him, but he wasn't what I called a ladies' man. He never had no girlfriend, at least no female never called a house trying to front on my mom's. I can't recall any incidents involving any women, accusations, or any uncomfortableness. He was a family man. Everybody in the whole world knew my mom's was his wife, his one and only, his soft spot even. Moms and pops had been young lovers, and unlike a whole lot of niggas, they stayed together. She was 14 when she had me. Folks said she looked great during pregnancy and would switch her ass around the neighborhood, flowing easy like water. She would wear her fine Italian leather stiletto heels even in her 7th month. Moms had everything by way of clothes and anything else you could think of. Her mahogany skin was smooth as a Hershey's chocolate bar. That's Coldest Winter Ever. Sister Soldier. Moving on to Black Sun Signs. Alright, y'all. We've been on here 29 minutes. I was trying to do an hour, but I'm trying to feed my family too, and I know it's late. It's cool though. We riding. Black Sun Signs, again, all this is for to promote literacy and shit. I remember when KLX started the Leaders Are Readers Challenge, and he said, it's important when black men speak, I listen. He said he remember in school being nervous about reading. Where they open the language arts books, or the English book, whatever the fuck you call it, and everybody in the classroom gonna read a paragraph, and they're gonna go in order. And he's like, and you know your diction and shit ain't together. You know you struggling with big words and all this. He's like, and that was so fucking nerve-wracking. And it wasn't just him. Apparently, it's a common thing for young black men, for young black boys. to be nervous about publicly speaking and reading, and they have to do it in class and they haven't practiced it at home and they don't do the shit for fun. And so it's, like I said, it's nerve-wracking. Anyway, he said it got to a point where you'll be counting people in the seats and counting paragraphs so you'll know exactly which one is going to be yours so you can be prepared for it and hope don't nobody go to the bathroom and interrupt the flow. So it helped me to understand how important it is that we make reading a normal thing to do, a casual thing to do. Like when you get in the car, you just turn the radio on without even thinking about it. So much so you're irritated when the commercials come on and try to figure out what the fuck in the car got you irritated. Then you're like, ugh. You know, but it's something that you welcome. When we begin to read that way, and our children, we can't expect our children to be greater than us, because everybody be like, I just want my children to be better than me. How? I just want my children to be better than I was. You know, I be telling them all the time, don't be like your daddy, be better. How? How? What do they see better? They don't see you drinking water. They don't see you reading books. They don't see you meditating. They don't see you exercising. How? Your grandchildren just the same. How? How are they going to be better than you? Where have you grown? Anyway, black sun signs. The earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. You're down to earth, practical, and cautious. Basically, you're always the same, predictable, reliable, grounded. You know, ground, get it. Fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Like the elements of fire, you're unpredictable, feisty, aggressive, impulsive, and hard to control. To put it more bluntly, it's going to be your way or no way at all. Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. In reality, people generally love to be close to lakes, rivers, oceans, and ponds. If you're a water sign, people love to be close to you because you're reassuring, emotional, intuitive, soothing, non-threatening. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. If you're an air sign, you're independent, aloof, analytical, intriguing, and very hard to keep up with. You must have freedom. Like air itself, air signs cannot be contained, harnessed, or backed into a corner. If either happens, you'll simply disappear. From a practical standpoint, earth and water signs make beautiful mud together, and fire and air make a bonfire that's hard to put out. Here's the breakdown of the sun signs, and that's peace as fuck. Listen, I'm a Gemini, and I don't typically like to say that because I'm so all-inclusive that I recognize that I am all of the above. I recognize that I'm all 12 zodiacs, just like I'm all 13 Chinese zodiacs. Do I have that other zodiac book over here? I think I do. It might be this joint right here. We might get to it. I don't know. Depends on if we have time. But yeah, I don't typically like to claim one because I am all of them. And maybe you feel like that way because I'm a Gemini. You're like, this why this bitch feel like she all the zodiacs. But I really believe that I can attribute that to my being God. Either way, by the books and by the knowledge, by the doctrine, which I don't deny. You know what I'm saying? My mama taught me there's some truth in every criticism. So even things like the Bible would be like, nigga, they made that shit up at a meeting of the council. They did, like most of the movies, but it's also true that there's some truth in every criticism. It comes from somewhere. And so I do believe in zodiacs, and I do believe in sun signs, and I believe in numerology, and there's not a thing that I don't believe in, really. I believe in Bloody Mary, boogeyman, and ghosts. All that shit is real. If somebody can speak it, then it can be. So I trust that when they say that fire and air make a bonfire that's hard to put out, that's peace. My best friends have all been fiery, you know. Yeah, the Leos. I've always been around them lying-ass Leos. Yeah, they goddamn say them old sexed out ass Sagittarius, but they my goddamn riders though. You know what I mean? They my riders and shit. Anyway, compatible mates. Aries works best with Sagittarius, Leo, Gemini, and Aquarius. Taurus is compatible with Virgo, Capricorn, Cancer, and Pisces. Gemini is more suited to Leo, Aries, Aquarius, and Libra. Cancer is better with Pisces, Scorpio, Virgo, Taurus. The 4 signs listed within each group are also compatible and interchangeable. For example, in addition to Cancer, Scorpios are also compatible with Virgo, Taurus, and Pisces. And please, please, please don't send those cards and letters declaring that you and your husband, your boyfriend, your man, your woman of 20 years are not listed as being compatible. Right. So if you happen to be a Cancer and you and your Virgo are just riding out in y'all 20 years, we don't give a fuck enough for you to just be out here. Like, the book is lying on us, though. We're talking about generally speaking, and that's peace. It said there is some truth in every criticism. what you have to understand about these compatibility things is they give you a real life outline. They give you just, but that's all it is. It's an outline. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Yeah, that's it. It doesn't say that the relationships that they don't list as compatible can't work. It just doesn't work as easy. It just doesn't work as easy. And that's okay too. I didn't say all of this astrology business is foolproof. I'm simply saying this method will enable you to leap over some of the many frogs before you meet Prince or Princess Charming, as the case may be. Your opposite sign is generally about 6 months from your birth date or directly across from your sign on the circular horoscope. The following signs are opposites: Aries from Libra, Taurus from Scorpio, Gemini from Sagittarius, Cancer from Capricorn, Leo, Aquarius, Virgo, Pisces. Everybody loves listening to this. The Love Connection. This is a dope book because it has, like, Leo. It's got Leo strive to reign supreme. It's got their positive traits, their negative traits, the ruling planet, the Leo man, more on the Leo woman, the Leo child, the Leo connection, how to get a Leo, how to keep a Leo, the Leo employee, health matters. You understand? And it's even got famous sun signs the same. This is a really good one, but every time I try to read this one, we get caught up. Oh, Great Rising family. We get caught up. Moving on to Philip John Neimark, The Way of the Orisha. Empowering your life through the ancient African religion of Ifa. The Way of the Orisha. Here. Let me, hold on, I'm trying to pick a random page to start on. Okay, those are other Orishas. Okay, here we go. Ogun. Wait a minute, it's Obatala here. Orunmila. Olodumare. Let's go Olodumare. Olodumare, the single god, assembled all his wealth in one place and sent his messenger out to summon the 401 Arunmoles, supernatural beings from heaven, 256 of whom became the sacred odors or text of Ifa. He went for them so that they could carry his treasure to earth. They were asked to sacrifice a large lump of pounded yam, a pot full of soup, many cola nuts, sheep, pigeon, fowls, and 3,200 calories, and to use the sacrifices to entertain visitors. Olodumare's messenger reached all 401 Arunmoles and delivered the message, but none of them entertained the messenger with the ordered sacrifices. When the messenger reached Orunmila, he was welcomed heartily and entertained with food. Because of his kindness, the messenger disclosed to Orunmila that he should not be very anxious about carrying the treasures because the most important one was underneath Olodumare's seat. When the Arunmoles assembled, they were told of Olodumare's message, and all of them were struggling for what they believed to be the most valuable contents. Some carried money, some food, some other things valuable to them. Olodumare's messenger, talking through his trumpet, told Orunmila to sit quietly because the most important thing is in the snail's shell. Thus Orunmila sat patiently, watching the other Arunmoles take away all the wealth, property, and various essences they were to carry to earth. After they left, Orunmila got up and went straight to where Olodumare sat, took the snail's shell from under his seat, and departed for earth. Orunmila met the other Arunmoles at the terminus of the road leading from heaven to earth and asked them what was wrong. They responded that earth was covered with water and there was no place for them to land. Then Orunmila dipped his hand into the snail's shell and took out a net, which he cast upon the water. He dipped his hand inside the shell a second time and brought out earth, which he cast upon the net. A third time he reached into the shell and brought forth a 5-fingered cock and threw him on the net to spread the earth on the net and the water. The cock began to spread said earth. Water was moving backward and the ground was spreading. When it seemed the work was going too slowly, Orunmila himself descended great rising. Orunmila himself descended and commanded the small land to be expanded, thus be expanded quickly, be expanded quickly, be expanded quickly. He stopped and the world expanded. There was great joy in heaven. The place where Orunmila stood as the first person on earth and decreed the world be expanded is to this day called Ifawara in Ile Ife. All right, so that's just hey, the story of the beginning. Another story of the beginning. Olodumare, the single god, who said, as work was moving too slowly, be expanded quickly, be expanded quickly, be expanded quickly. So it's safe to say he was alone with the word. Sound familiar? And that's peace. 40 minutes? All right. Where we at? Be a goddess. Be a goddess, a guide to Celtic spells and wisdom for self-healing, prosperity, and great sex by Francesca Di Grande. Be a goddess, a guide to Celtic spells and wisdom for self-healing, prosperity, and great sex. I thought this was one that I marked the page in. 33? No. Well, let's just try it. A healthy priestess makes all things sound. A healthy priest or priestess makes all things sound. That means a lot of things. Without any magical training, any of us could be a minister of the old gods by being of service to our friends, our community, and the land. Any of us can be priest and teacher to all those around us, whether we teach by overt instruction or by the examples of our own behavior. We become healthy and prosperous as individuals only if we help the rest of humankind become so. For instance, scientific studies have shown that a lack of being loved promotes heart problems. A man who is so focused on earning money and prestige that he neglects his family eventually suffers an overwhelming emptiness and loneliness. He does not receive or give the love needed to be healthy. Each of us is also part of the family that is animal, plant, and rock. We are also part of a planet and a universe. All these things weave with, interact with, and impact us. Destruction of our earth in a scramble for so-called abundance actually robs us of the abundance and happiness we desire. Environmental diseases are hurting, even destroying many people's lives. Oh, y'all, we down to 2 folks. That's peace, though. That's peace, though, because I'm going to be up at power hours and shit, so I really could use the rest. All right, we'll book Faye again tomorrow on, oh, shit, let me take this off. Hell yeah. We'll, book Faye again tomorrow. I might be lying. I might be lying. She right. I don't know about no goddamn book Faye tomorrow. I know I got this new cast iron skillet for this cornbread, though. Okay, I'm gone. I love you. I love you, family.